Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're looking to land your first job in tech sales, I'm the instructor at CourseCareers, where we put together the most in-depth course, taking you from knowing nothing, square one, to breaking into tech sales in less than 3 months without a degree or any prior experience required. I recently spoke with Jah'di to talk about his story going from mural painter, no sales experience, to breaking into tech sales and now on track to make $100,000 his first year. His family's proud of him, and it's pretty incredible. So please enjoy the interview. And if you're looking to learn more, I put together an entire free tech sales introductory course linked in the description below.
The way that I'm actually performing right now, like I'm on pace to actually make 100K this year, my first year. So that's like amazing. And it's really exciting to share that type of news with my family and my mom. And actually, one thing I want to mention, using LinkedIn was actually really important because
Jah'di, I'm really excited to talk about your story today, breaking into tech sales with absolutely no experience. And it sounds like now you're one of the top BDR performers on your team. Let's start with how tech sales changed your life, because you, of course, shared that with me in the context. And let's start there.
cool. So let's see. I've never really made like above like 50 to 60K a year in my life. A lot of jobs I've had have been like working in education. I love kids, so I worked at a high school, and then I worked at T-Mobile for a little bit, and then I painted murals for the last 3 years of my life. And I love like painting, and it was a lot of fun. And I actually was like working for myself, but I kind of like hit like a cap with painting murals, and I figured like, well, I'm getting into my 30s now. Like what's a lane that I could go into that could make me six figures and then help me build up to potentially one day hitting seven. And I thought, well, I've always been good at sales. I've had like 3 different sales jobs, and I always excelled like really well. I know I'm just good at talking to people. I know how to be articulate, and I know how to persuade people pretty well. So I figured, let me lean into that. Let me lean into like natural strength. And so I did a little bit of research. Well, actually, what happened is, I mean, long story short, I went to the Dominican Republic, and I met this guy, this other black guy. He was there traveling by himself. And I was like, he basically was living super lavish, and I kind of like paired up with him there. And I was like, well, what do you do? He's like, I work in tech. And he told me about like becoming a scrum master. And I kind of like actually started going down that route, but then I stopped for various reasons. But then I returned to the idea of working in tech after 3 years of painting after 3 years of painting murals. I was already painting for 2 years. So I did it for like another year, and I was like, I really want to get into tech. So I just went online and like looked up like tech courses, and I found CourseCareers, and looked at a bunch of testimonies and stuff first to make sure that like this was legit. And it was like, what was like $500. And I was like, let me try to, let's just see what happens. So paid the 500, went through the course, and landed a job within about 3 months. And now I'm definitely making more money than I've ever made in my life. And it's only going to grow. Like the way that I'm actually performing right now, like I'm on pace to actually make 100K this year, my first year. So that's like amazing. And it's really exciting to share that type of news with my family and my mom, you know. And it's funny because part of my role is like I watch a lot of course calls. So I watch the sales directors or the AEs kind of do their calls. And it's funny, I just sit there and watch. I'm like, I could do this so easily, like what they're doing. And I'm in contact with them every day. And it's just funny because I'm in a different role, but like I know like I'm gonna get to that role like not in no time. I know it's gonna take some time, but I just see myself like crushing that role and getting there soon. So yeah, at this point I'm just making a lot more money, and it just feels really good. Just so much better able to maneuver through life when you have more money.
I'm
So
feeling the confidence too that you're proud of what you're doing and able to share that news with your family. And then, of course, the money makes a big impact. Was there a
totally.
particular moment when you were painting murals, when you decided, okay, I met the guy in the DR that's making money in tech. I'd like to make more money in tech. But was there a specific moment where you decided, I got to make a change?
Yeah, it was when I met him, honestly, like that. And soon after I met him in DR, I read this quote and it said, "Your level of success depends on your level of exposure." And it made me think about my experience in the DR and how like I had never actually like really rotated with anybody who was living a lifestyle like that, and to see like he was very similar to me but just making like three times much more money than me, and I was like I could really lean into this. And but I what I need to do is I need to expose myself and be around the types of people that are making that money consistently, because you are who you surround yourself with. So now like I'm looking at my CEO right now. He probably makes millions of dollars. I actually don't even know what he makes, but I know he makes a ton of money. And so does the operations guy. Like these guys make a lot of money. So I'm just in the same space as them. And it only makes sense that I'll be making similar amounts and living a similar lifestyle. So, but I think that moment was in the DR when I was exposed to the type of lifestyle that I was like, wow, I could do this too, you know?
How has your lifestyle changed since being in the DR painting murals to now you're in Portland, I believe? It looks like you're in a nice office and, of course, making more money.
Yeah.
As you reflect on how your life has changed, if at all, are there any highlights that you'd like to share?
Yeah, like money is just not much of a like thought anymore about things. Like I still want to make a lot more, but like just like leisurely, I don't really have like car issues get fixed super quickly. Like I just don't really have to think about it much. And it's more just being excited. It's more like I'm
Yeah.
excited to make more money, and working at a tech sales job like this, it's one of those types of jobs where it's like the harder you work, the more you will actually make. Where there are a lot of different types of jobs in the world. I feel like a vast majority of them, like when you get into a job, like you're kind of stuck at a certain salary. Like there's not really much. You can work twice as hard in a day. You're not going to make more. Maybe in the long term, but like this is the type of role where the more meetings I set, the more that complete, the more commission I get. And it's really uncapped. So, um, yeah, yeah, it's a lot of excitement.
Let's talk about the tangible steps you took to go from painting murals to breaking into tech sales as a BDR. Once you decided that's what you wanted to do, where did you start?
So basically went online and found CourseCareers. I really sat on the idea for like a couple weeks, but I went through like all of the just like the videos. I watched people's testimonies on YouTube. Like I really did some thorough research, and then I was like, okay, well, let me just dive into this. So I bought it, and then I completed the course within like 3 weeks, 3 weeks or so, and I passed the test. I think was that my second try. I think I had to take it twice actually. Yeah, I did have to take it twice, but so it went like I basically studied for hours or I basically went through the course for a couple of hours every day. Finished it within a month. I remember that at least, and then after that, just started applying to jobs, kind of using the strategies that Course Careers encouraged us to employ to find jobs. And I applied and applied, and like it kind of took a while, and there were some discouraging moments, but failure can't cope with persistence. It's very similar to tech sales. Like you're gonna have droughts, you're gonna have moments where you're discouraged, but if you just keep chipping away, it's kind of like that that meme where there's like a guy like chipping away through like rock, and there's a diamond on the other side,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it's kind of like that.
One of them, the first guy stops this far before he reaches the diamonds. Second
Yeah,
guy he keeps going, he gets the diamonds.
He's still going, and you actually don't see him get it, but you can, if you just look at the picture, like you can tell he's going to get it if he just
Yeah.
keeps going. So yeah, that was very similar to my experience of landing a job. Like I just kept going, and eventually it just worked out. And actually, one thing I want to mention, uh, using LinkedIn was actually really important because uh, what ended up happening is because I kept like interacting and engaging with so many people on LinkedIn, uh, just like kind of being in that like CourseCareers community, adding a lot of people who were also in CourseCareers. Uh, eventually, a recruiter from later reached out to me and said, "Hey, you should apply here." And I don't think that would have happened had I not been as active and as like visible on LinkedIn as I had been. So that was really helpful.
What did you learn in course careers that enabled you to eventually land the job?
I think really just I think LinkedIn was, I mean, I'll just harp on that some more. I think that was really key. Like I didn't even have a LinkedIn prior. So like I had to make
Mm.
that, and then, filling out all the info on LinkedIn and just messaging people, and like, I even had conversations with people who were also looking for jobs and were kind of like not having the greatest of luck, but we would just encourage each other. And then I'd see people land jobs and I'm like, damn, okay, I'm next. You know what I mean? And then eventually I found mine as well. And another thing was like just kind of like cleaning up like your online presence, I think is also really important as well. Um, yeah, LinkedIn was big, honestly. It was really big.
And you mentioned the course careers community and adding other people, and maybe there were some interactions amongst other people doing course careers. How did the course careers community impact your job search?
It was tremendous, honestly. Like it was really big. Like a lot of the people I would talk to were also either going through CourseCareers or had just finished, and people were like, I was a graduate, so people would ask me questions, and I'd be happy to divulge like what I knew. Um, and yeah, it's a really and also I got onto the Discord community too. So like there was the Discord and the LinkedIn community, and just kind of like staying in touch with everybody was really helpful.
And when you think about applying to the jobs, because you mentioned that was tough, a lot of rejection, you had your quote. Talk
Yeah.
about how many companies did you apply to? How long did it take? What did that process look like?
Oh, bro, it was dozens. It was probably close to 100, to be honest. And then Keandre Sutton, I think that's his name, Keandre on LinkedIn. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I went to like one of his like BDR uh stream like live sessions for streaming, like people who are trying to get into becoming a BDR. Like he would kind of give a lot of tips and stuff. And one of the things he was mentioning was like sending employers videos and just doing what you can to stand out, because a lot of being a BDR is like your emails need to stand out. It's the same way when you're applying to a job. You need to stand out because they're getting tons of applications. So that was crucial.
What did you do to stand out?
So once I got that info, I'll be honest, like I got that info and I started sending them out, and I wasn't really getting any bites. But I think I can't remember who said that quote. I don't know if it was Abraham Lincoln or like Winston Churchill, but one of them said, "The harder you work, the luckier you get." And honestly, like the way I landed myself at later, like I worked really hard and I sent out so many applications. None of them really landed, but just my activity,
Hmm.
right, attracted, I feel like, the recruiter from later to see, like, oh, this person lives in Portland. They're an aspiring BDR. They look pretty active. Let's see if they want to join. You know what I mean? And it just, sometimes you just get lucky, but you have to work hard to strike that luck sometimes. So I think that was it's huge. Like my story is a testament to that quote, honestly.
And could you talk about your process of putting in these activities? It sounds like you were connecting with people on LinkedIn, sending LinkedIn messages, maybe videos, a lot of emails. Did you just wake up on a Monday morning and say, I'm gonna send emails for an hour and then maybe go paint or whatever? Like, what did your process look like when you were actually in the trenches taking all this activity?
Yeah, I had dedicated hours. I like set like dedicated time each day to funnel through like messages and basically work that process. It'd be anywhere from like after I finished course careers, it'd be anywhere from like 1 to 2 hours per day because I'd always have something else going on from working out and meal prepping stuff like that. Um, but yeah, setting dedicate like time blocking out time to complete your goals is important. The more time you put in, the quicker you're going to get to it.
Do you think you would have been able to land the job without course careers, or could you talk about the role course careers played in helping you get the job?
I think so, man, but like I think it would have been way harder. I think the process may have been slower. To be honest, I actually tried. Okay, so like I actually tried to land a job without even using course careers. I tried that for like 2 months and I literally had like no luck and I felt like I was spinning my wheels and I was like, you know what? Let me actually like try to look let me try this course and see what they can actually teach me. And you're the person who like ran the whole course. So basically you taught me a whole lot of what I know. And yeah, and before I forget to say this, is one thing you said during the course that really stuck with me, and it's actually helped me a lot with this job so far. It was questions persuade more powerfully than any statement can, and it's the questions that you're able to ask prospects that really like give it makes them like come up with the answer themselves, or it
Hmm.
leads them to answering it leads them to the answer you want them to have, but it makes them feel like they came up with it themselves. So um, throughout the training, like that was one thing you said that really stuck with me and has helped to this day. So
It's all about questions.
yeah, yeah,
That's
you're asking some
amazing.
good ones. Speaking of which,
As we wrap up here, so you did it, you made it happen. I think you just made a really important point that you just went directly to it. People will reach out to me and say, "Well, how do I get into tech sales?" And I say, "Well, just go apply. Go like that's all you got to do is apply to jobs, eventually get some interviews and then eventually get some offers." You tried that and it's so hard to do it without
yeah,
having any experience or being in the tech industry because there's just the reality is you're competing against other people who do have that. Even if
mm-hmm,
you're better or you think you're better, they're probably going to get the look because you don't have that knowledge. And that is why
mm-hmm,
seeking out the knowledge, doing things like course careers are a major differentiator and actually help you get the job. So as you think about advice to someone out there that may be listening that is thinking about whether tech sales is right for them, or maybe they're waiting to buy course careers like you did for a while, had it in the shopping
yeah.
cart. Maybe they're in course careers right now, or maybe they're in the struggle of their job search. What advice would you give them?
Let me get really close. Finish course careers. Trust me, it's well worth it. Like I literally couldn't recommend it enough. Like I've already made back what I paid for it 10, 20 fold. Like it's totally worth it. All the information, it's very succinct, it's just powerful, and also like really man, like it's the community that you're able to get out of it too. It's like all the people that you meet who are hungry just as much as you, and you're listening to other people's stories and you get inspired by their stories, um and when you finally land it, like it's so sweet. It's the sweetest feeling. So I really can't recommend it enough. 10 out of 10.
It's amazing. Well, congratulations on your success and making it happen. you're now one of the people being featured in the successful stories. So it's I loved your quote. Your level of success depends on your level of exposure. So we're all trying to get in that next room, and you're there. I'm trying to get there, and we're gonna keep making it happen. So thanks for your words here today.
Amen. Cool. Thanks, Trent. Appreciate you.